Go straight to the big breaking story tonight, and this is what we were expecting. The Internal Advisory Committee of the Reserve Bank has now put out details that the Insolvency Banking Code will be invoked for at least 12 cases. The IAC will focus on large stressed accounts. The IAC took up accounts partially or wholly classified as NPAs among the top 500 exposures. IAC arrived at an objective, non-discretionary criteria for taking up accounts under the IBC. Accounts with the exposure of 5,000 crore rupees and above, with over 60% amount classified as NPAs, have been considered for immediate referral to the IBC. So this is now the detail that's coming from the Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India also saying that based on the recommendations of the IAC, they will issue directions to banks to file for insolvency proceedings under the IBC in respect of the identified accounts. Remember, as I pointed out, 12 accounts have been identified by the Reserve Bank for immediate referral to the IBC. Such cases will be accorded priority by the National Company Law Tribunal. Also, as regards the other non-performing accounts which do not qualify under the above criteria, the IAC has recommended that banks should finalize a resolution plan within 6 months. In cases where a viable resolution plan is not agreed upon within 6 months, then banks should be required to file for insolvency proceedings under the IBC. So those accounts that have not been referred by the Reserve Bank to the IBC, banks will be given a period of 6 months to try and arrive at a resolution. If that resolution process fails, then it will be something that will be sent across to the IBC. We'll try and connect with our colleagues Ritu Singh as well as Timsy Jaipuria. Timsy, in fact, had broken this story, saying that 12 to 15 accounts will go towards the IBC, and that deals with a major chunk of the total NPA. So I'm just going to ask our colleagues to try and dial into Timsy Jaipuria, who was the first to actually break this story. But once again, 12 accounts totaling about 25% of the gross NPAs of the sector qualify for immediate reference under the IBC. The IAC has recommended that banks finalize, as I pointed out, a resolution plan for other NPAs outside this criteria within 6 months. If I remember correctly, you know, the story that Timsy had broken, there were several names there, the names that have been in the headlines, including Kingfisher, Bhushan Steel, and so on and so forth. I am going to ask our producers to dial Timsy and revisit that story. Timsy Jaipuria now with us. Timsy, you know, this is the story that you had broken, that 12 to 15 accounts in the first phase will go to the IBC. Just take our viewers through what you had picked up from sources.
Well, yes, as you said, we reported this long time back. Out of all the NPA cases, 12 to 15 cases were eligible for the first go. And what government had identified very clearly, it was a meeting between Finance Ministry, that is DFS, the other DA, and RBI. Put together, they had identified these 12 to 15 cases which were to be referred to the IBC in the first go. And what sources had told me very clearly, pointing out that these are some of the major cases of NPA where the stressed asset is actually huge, and there could be an easy resolution which can come through these cases once they are taken by the oversight committee. Oversight committee definitely has a view of how they will deal with they'll sit across with the promoters and with the bankers to actually... Hello?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Timsy, on that. And the 12 accounts total about 25% of the gross NPAs of the sector, which will now qualify for immediate reference under the IBC. Latha also with us. Latha, we were waiting for this, at least some clarity now, as Timsy had reported a couple of weeks ago. 12 in the first tranche to go to the IBC. You want to take us through your views on this?
Well, actually, it's a fairly objective criteria. It's not, I mean, there is no discretion involved at all. These are accounts which are over 5,000 crore. They have been already classified as non-performing by banks as of March 2016. Not the entire, you know, an account is never entirely a bad loan. It is project-wise because many of them are infrastructure. So if over 60% of a borrower's assets are classified as NPA, then they would be identified under this category. So it's a very, very large account where the fund and non-fund based exposure is over 5,000 crore, and 60% of that, that is 3,000 crores is already NPA. Those are the only ones that they have identified. So it's a very non-discretionary criterion. It is not about whether I can easily resolve it or there is a party waiting to buy me, or there's something about the borrower and his history that makes him more amenable to guilt. This is just an arithmetic criterion. If 60% of the loan has already declared NPA as of FY 2016, and if it is an over 5,000 crore rupee loan, it will come under this category. And they have so far identified 12 under that category, which will straight away be sent to the insolvency court. One name that clearly comes to the mind looks like it could be Videocon. The Videocon was declared NPA only in this March of 2017 by Dena Bank. It wasn't an NPA until then. So perhaps we have to look for other names. Maybe Sterling Biotech is a name that comes to the mind. I don't know how many of them can be retrieved. Since they were NPA as of 2016 itself, it's quite possible that many of them would be largely even written off accounts.
All right. This is, of course, what we were expecting and waiting for, largely along expected lines. But 12 accounts will be the first for immediate reference to the IBC. That's the view that's coming from the Reserve Bank of India. And, of course, 6-month resolution time period being given to banks to try and work things out. And Timsy, just going back to you, do you remember the names that you had put out, just for quick clarification?
Yes, I remember a few names, but yes, that was also something which my sources very clearly said, that these are the few possible names, and let's see whether they actually come out or not. But Kingfisher was one, Bhushan Steel was another. So where they feel that yes, there's already large chunk and they are classified NPAs by banks. So these two were the few easy names that my sources had revealed. Let's see whether they are actually there or not in those.
Yeah, but we don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Sure of those names,
right to caveat
Timsy, I don't think Bhushan Steel has been declared NPA yet. They got a 525 and things like that. I think we have to be more careful about arriving at those names. Yeah, I'm not even sure. Even Videocon was declared only now.
Yeah, so let's wait to get clarification on who has qualified for reference under the IBC, because these are accounts that the Reserve Bank has now said are going to be going for immediate reference to the IBC.